public servants themselves. Okay, now we're looking at the heads of department. And the heads of department, we now put them in a position where they have no excuse to deliver, so to speak. And they're well remunerated, they have very good packages, housing, health, insurance, all of that's taken care of. But what about their public servants? And this is what I wanted to speak about, or what I wanted to add to the debate we're having here. We expect these public servants to be patriotic, to come to work diligently, prepared to build our nation. That's our expectation of them. But let's look at the public servant's lot insofar as it's concerned today, in his situation. Is he motivated to come to work and be productive, contribute meaningfully? Let's look at him or her. I can tell you that's a big flat no. And I'll compare this with just before independence. The public servant in Papua New Guinea just before independence. If you went throughout this country, in any province, or in those days they were called districts, in any district, and you went to that district, the public servants were a well-oiled machine, or were part of a well-oiled machine. They performed their duties diligently. They were disciplined. They were punctual. They were committed. They were productive. And they were happy. Why? Because they had housing. Because their needs were taken care of. Because they felt that the organization they served was loyal to them and served them as well, and took care of them. And so they felt that they could come and contribute meaningfully. They were inspired. That's not the case today. Fast forward to today. In those days, even cleaners, even an ordinary laborer had a home. He could live with dignity. He was respected by his community. And he didn't have to worry so much about his family because they were taken care of. They were adequately housed. They were adequately remunerated. So he polished his shoes, lined up his pants, and turned up to work well-dressed, ready to serve his nation. That was just before independence. After independence, things went downhill pretty fast. And here I disagree with Governor Pakop. He stated that we didn't change anything. No, we did change a few things, and not for the better. For example, the 1995 reforms. I feel that this was a very crucial moment in PNG's history. It took us to a very dark place, because it's after 1995 that you will see the deterioration of the district stations and government services, when we fixed something that wasn't broken. And it was inspired by political will. Those stations and districts that had water and power and functioning public servants, they weren't just paid a salary like they are today, but they also had money that they could use for their programs. They had outreach programs, extension programs. They could get out there in the community and serve their people. That stopped after 95. Districts and stations stopped getting their revenues. Water got shut off. Power, law and order, elephant grass started growing everywhere. The business services that were taking place and keeping those mini economies thriving and surviving started to shut down. People started to drift to the urban centers. And now we are experiencing a lot of these problems now. All started in 95, Mr. Speaker. So yes, we did make an effort to change things, but Governor Pakop, we didn't change them for the better. We made things worse. And then we went and created DDAs. I know my fellow MPs, the open members, might be a little bit, now they're getting really tense because they're like, what's the government going to say? We need to protect our DSIP. How dare he question us? No, I'm not questioning you, my colleagues. I'm just trying to make a point here. Listen carefully. Now the open members have the responsibility with their funding to take care of the infrastructure needs of their districts. But who's taking care of the service needs of the district? They don't get the funding they used to. Yes, the public servant is in the station or in the district. He gets his fortnightly wage. But he doesn't have funds to roll out his extension programs, to go out there and carry out his patrols, to carry out his immunization programs. He can't. And the funds that used to go to the provinces are now limited because we have to line up here on the 21st of every month and collect our GST, which we are getting only 60% of, by the way. It's insufficient. That's why I proposed at some other debate that all provinces should get 100% of their GST, not just 60%. And the difference that we are not getting, that should be allocated to the districts so that districts and stations can deliver those services. Because the open members can't do that. They don't have enough to do that. Their funding is for infrastructure. Now, going back to what I was talking about, the issue is addressing the public servants' desire to come to work and be productive. Just like you and I have the desire to come here and make a difference, they must also have that same desire. How do we do that? How do we cultivate that? We have to look at their welfare and benefits. And we have no excuse at all. This is one of the wealthiest countries in the world in terms of the resources we have. We have no excuse at all. Housing, for instance, we have a housing ministry. Why can't that housing ministry, for instance, be taking stock of the housing needs of the public sector and ensure that all public servants have a home? For example, we have more than enough land. We have more than enough resources to be able to make this a reality. And I guarantee you, when you do that, instantly you will improve the productivity of the public sector. The public servant will be happy. He will feel satisfied. He will know that the organization that he serves actually cares for him. And when it cares for him, he will reciprocate that care. And he will turn up to work punctual and on time and ready to deliver. And then, only then can we hold him or her accountable. Because right now we're holding them accountable, but we're not giving them what they deserve. So my debate is this. Yes, we are taking care of the heads of organizations, and I'm very supportive of this bill. Thank you, Prime Minister, for bringing it forward. I'm very confident that with your efforts with Reset 2050 and with the NMCA, with ICAC, and the new look DPM PSC entity that we are going to propose, we will be able to better manage not just the public servants, but the departments as well. So I support this bill. I totally support this bill, but what I would like to propose is that we have to look at the welfare and benefits of our public servants. They're the ones in the front line. They're the ones in the very remote areas expected to be the face of government, to deliver to the expectations of our people. They're the very important people that we have to take stock of and deal with or attend to. And when I say the public service, I also want to include the disciplinary forces as well as the state-owned enterprises. We want the best possible people working for Papua New Guinea. In fact, it is my proposal that we should consider remunerating our public servants better than the private sector. Better than the private sector. You look at the private sector, what are they doing in comparison to the public sector? The private sector contributes by paying its taxes, and it contributes to the development of a country by contributing in that way and other development efforts. But the core responsibility of building a nation, an economy, lies with the government and the public service, or the public sector. And that is my debate, and I support this bill. I think it's a great bill. We need one point of contact in the public sector that is responsible for the public servants, and that point of contact should be the Chief Secretary. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.